This video is sponsored by the Association of Anaesthetists, A-Line, Health Education Northeast and NEMO.
Is Miss Odeth Richardson. So she is currently the chair of the BAME staff network at Newcastle hospitals and is also an LGBT ally. She has supported the development of the Workforce Disability Equality Standard as part of a working party with the NHS Leadership Academy. She regularly also participates in staff development and supports the preceptorship programme in delivering sessions on resilience. And she's going to talk to us today about the BAME staff network and improving through inclusion.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Brilliant. Okay, thank you all for inviting me to speak this afternoon. Here in Newcastle hospitals, we have 3 staff networks. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about where we've been, where we're coming from, what we're doing now, and how we're going to try and support BAME staff in particular. So our staff network, so we are going to talk about, let's see how we can improve through inclusion, because here in Newcastle hospitals, we previously had a problem with inclusion. So it's one of 3 staff networks, the BAME staff network. It was launched in 2014, and it was created for staff who identify as Black, Asian, or from any minority ethnic group. It was launched for those who are interested in promoting equality, for challenging discrimination, and sharing good practice. And it was also launched as a support network for staff, as well as an avenue for them to raise concerns regarding issues that may affect them at work. So it was optional to join the network. It's not based on the color of your skin, because we welcome staff from all ethnicities. As long as you are a champion of equality, we welcome you as our allies, and it's a confidential network. We have over 200 members, and we're continually seeking new members. Therefore, at corporate induction, the networks are introduced, and the trust has developed what we call a first day kit, which is given to all new recruits, and it includes a dedicated page about the staff networks. And recently, since the pandemic started, we've been having bi-monthly virtual meetings to support our BME staff. So our network, we work quite closely with the Workforce Race Equality Standard team, and I sit as part of the action group to develop the action plan for the trust. So I'm going to share with you some of the key objectives that we have as part of this working group and what we've done so far to try and address some of those issues. So as you all know, our trust here in Newcastle, the board is not representative of the local population. So one of the action plans that we've put in place as part of the RES is to introduce a more diverse looking board. And so we have recently introduced the Insight Mentoring Program for aspiring non-exec directors. We have introduced diverse shortlisting and recruitment panels, and we've introduced positive action statements in all of our recruitment information. Our workforce to be representative of the local population at all levels, which includes our very senior post. So in 2019, we held a targeted recruitment fair in partnership with 5 other local organizations, and we had over 400 attendees at this fair. We had planned to repeat that this year, however, COVID came, and so this has now been put back until May 2021, where we can hopefully have another recruitment fair. In the interim, we've had the Lighthouse Lab that's been commissioned across the Northeast, and so we've been recruiting, because Newcastle Hospital is leading on the Lighthouse Lab recruitment. We have been recruiting, and so far, the aim was to recruit a very diverse group of people to work within the labs, and our recruitment has been going really well. And early indications are quite positive. So far, we have around 25% of staff who have been recruited to work in the lab from a BAME background, so that's really positive. One of the other things we talked about was whether we had equal staff experience. And from our previous staff survey results, we realized that the staff experience was not as equal for everybody. And so when Dame Jackie came in, she introduced this Flourish at Newcastle Hospitals program. And Flourish is, the aim of Flourish is to create a diverse, engaged, and well workforce, which will contribute to the local economy. And Dame Jackie always used this phrase to say that it is to enable staff to bring their best selves to work. And so that program has been introduced and has been running for about coming up to 2 years, I think. The next thing we worked on was the implementation of a coaching and mentoring scheme to support improvements in career progression for BME staff. You've had presentations from Shirash previously, which outlined where we're at in terms of Newcastle, in terms of the various different staff groups and banding and so on. And we know that, especially for our nursing staff, we have a glass ceiling at band 6. So we have introduced a mentoring program, and this was launched in July of this year. There are 52 participants so far. There's a 3-stage evaluation process. We are about to evaluate the first stage, and so we're hoping that the results of that evaluation will feed into what we need to do going forward in order to change that program. We needed to deliver a nurse development program for BME nurses, because again, we had an issue. And so we've commissioned a regional approach to leadership development for bands 5 to 7. We have a local offering development for band 5 and below. And we are working quite closely with our training and education teams to ensure that we make progress in this area and that we can support staff to grow and to develop. Other key priorities are consider protected characteristics against talent management. And so as a trust, we're looking to increase our capacity and capability to deliver a pipeline of talent and experience and expertise across local systems. We then went on to refresh our recruitment and selection policy and support training to facilitate BAME representation on our recruitment panels. And this has been going reasonably well. We've started out with our senior recruitment, so each consultant interview now has a member of a BME staff on that panel. We have done that also for senior posts within the organization, very senior posts. And we are about to roll that out to our band 6 recruitment panels because we know that's where the glass ceiling is for BME staff. And so we have done a recent recruitment drive to get more people to sit on these panels. We've updated our policy and we are planning to roll out the band 6 recruitment panels shortly. We introduced a cultural ambassador to support staff undergoing disciplinary and dignity at work investigations. Because as you all know, it seems, but that's not the case in Newcastle. So lots of BME staff seem to get disproportionately pulled into disciplinary procedures and dignity at work investigations. And so our cultural ambassadors was introduced in April 2020. We've now extended that to all our disciplinary grievance, dignity and respect investigations. And so staff now has the opportunity to request a cultural ambassador, or HR team can request a cultural ambassador for a case where there is a BAME member of staff who's undergoing one of these procedures. And the role of the cultural ambassador is to be unbiased, sit on the panel as part of the panel and identify any issues or any areas of bias that would impact on the process. We had an issue with bullying and harassment in terms of our staff survey results, and so we've developed where we are currently working on a training campaign to enable vital conversations to happen where staff can get support. So we are about to launch next year Flourish Kindness Matters campaign, which will be launched in the new year. It will be a combination of hard-hitting messages and softer ones. We have resources available online, and we're hoping that we've spent a lot of time today in terms of talking about bullying and harassment and the impact that's had on staff. We all know that it does impact on staff negatively, and so we really need to change the situation. We are making good progress in Newcastle hospitals, but we also have a bit of a way to go. So in concluding, the pandemic has highlighted lots of inequalities across the trust. However, with our Flourish at Newcastle Hospital program, the key, we hope, is to enable all staff to bring their best selves and their whole selves at work to work, to enable them to feel valued and to enable them to have a voice. During the pandemic, we had the staff network offered lots of support for staff from all bands, all groups of staff, because BAME staff were so significantly impacted by the pandemic. There were anxieties around the risk assessment. There were anxieties around the COVID impact on certain staff groups. There were anxieties around the racial trauma suffered because of the Black Lives Movement and the death of George Floyd. All of that coming together as part of the pandemic. It's created lots of anxieties and stresses for staff, and the staff network provided significant support for staff who were understandably upset, anxious, worried. And so what we started to do is started to have bi-monthly meetings, so every 2 weeks. Initially, when the pandemic started, we were meeting every week, and then we went to every 2 weeks, sort of at the beginning of September. The network meetings have been invaluable for staff. You know, it was a forum where they can come and raise their issues, and staff felt that there was a place that they could take their challenges. So we are doing targeted recruitment ongoing within the Lighthouse Lab. We are about to launch our Kindness Matters campaign, and we're trying to develop a leadership community within NUF that is inclusive and representative of the population we serve. You know, the one thing the pandemic has taught us is the importance of just being kind, because we're not sure what battles everybody's facing. And taking that few minutes out just to be kind, to ask how people are, to be there to provide support for each other has been really invaluable. And so we are encouraging everyone to remember that kindness does matter. Thank you very much.